you smell what The Rock is cooking?
WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly.
Tell me he didn't just say that.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
The Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, oh yeah.
And now, here's your host of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Really? Yeah!
Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you, talking all kinds of stuff wrestling. It is Slammiversary weekend, so we're going to talk TNA. We actually will have that segment coming up here in the first portion of the show. Also, later this hour, I've got my interview with Diamond Dallas Page. Going to talk a lot of DDP Yoga over the course of the hour, because it's certainly done a lot of good for me. It's I'm just over 5 weeks in, and even though I'm a little under the weather today because of allergies, as you probably can tell, I'll still take a Benadryl or two and then head on home and get my workout in for today. We'll talk a little bit about that. Hopefully we'll have DDP on in the upcoming months now that I've got a month of this under my belt. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk plenty of that. We've got the predictions starting to go wrong for Slammiversary, and a bunch of different news and notes, everything from the White House to the Flintstones to French broadcasting to the WWE Network. So a bunch of stuff this hour, plus your calls, your Facebook feedback, a whole litany of stuff. And where to start? I guess we'll start with Slammiversary. Of course, the TNA pay-per-view. They've reduced them to 4 now for the year. So this is already the 3rd pay-per-view of the year. The only other one they've got isn't until October, and that's Bound for Glory, which the location of that was announced over the course of this past week, and looks like that's going to be out in San Diego, California, just a little ways away from here. But they're getting around. They've got the whole thing going on in Boston this weekend for Slammiversary. And, well, the lineup, we'll talk a little bit about it. There was a few things set up over the course of Impact, some kind of previews, teasers, as it were. And, that all started off with Bully Ray kind of sounding a little bit confident in his promo this past Thursday on Impact. And here it is.
3 days! 3 days until Slammiversary! In 3 days, my brother Devon takes out Joseph Park for good. And in 3 days, in the main event, Boston, live on pay-per-view, the Icon Sting against the World Heavyweight Champion, yours truly, Bully Ray. Sting, you called it. You named the stipulation. You wanted it. I gave it to you. No holds barred. No holds barred, Sting. Did you really give it thought? Did you? You're going to try to break my arm? You're going to try to dislocate my kneecaps? Poke out my eye? Rip out my throat? Go for it, Sting. Go for it. Now, Sting, I ain't taking nothing away from you. Obviously, to be an icon, you must have accomplished something in this business. And you've beaten some of the greatest world champions out there to become the icon you are. Who have you beat, Sting? Who's that guy? He said, to be the man, you gotta beat the man. Ric Flair. Yeah, you beat him, Sting. Who else? You beat my father-in-law, the immortal Hulk Hogan. You beat him too. Who else, Sting? Let's see. You beat the the Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle. Hey, you got to give him credit. Not everybody can beat an Olympic gold medalist. And you beat him for the World Heavyweight title. Who else? Who else? Who? Oh, yeah. Jeff Hardy. Everybody loves Jeff Hardy. You beat him to become the World Heavyweight Champion. The only difference is, Sting, not only did you beat him, but I beat him too. I beat him for this, but I took him out. I'm the one that put Jeff Hardy on the shelf. I'm the one who's going to make sure that you never see Jeff Hardy again. Sting, I cannot wait for Slammiversary. I can't wait 72 hours for Boston. I can't wait to beat you to make sure you never, ever get to wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship again. But for now, I guess I'll just have to be patient. Tonight, right now, me and my brother Devon against you and Joe Park. Get out here and let's fight!
And fight they certainly did. Ended up being almost a whole quarter hour. The tag match of Sting and Joseph Park against Team 3D reuniting, at least for one night, Bully Ray and Devon. And despite the unity that garnered them, 23 different tag team championships, Sting and Joseph Park ended up getting the win on Impact. And a little preview of two of the matches that you'll see at Slammiversary. I'll give my predictions certain to go wrong coming up in a little bit, but for now, let's go to the phones. You know, he's been hanging on for a little bit. How about Ed, the showstopper? Ed, what's going on? Ed from the Northeast.
We got... hello?
Oh, there we go. You're good.
Anyway, we got Townsend down this coming week. The tournament that's for CCW with a 2 p.m. bell time. Tommy Dream was on that show.
Okay, I know he's pretty busy coming up here.
And that same night, they have Slam Championship Wrestling in Kensington at 2600 Kensington Avenue. I think that's a visitation center.
Oh, okay.
7:30 bell time. And Chicago at the Troc in Center City with a 4 p.m. bell time.
Oh, it's good that they're coming back. I know they've been doing some traveling a lot lately. I was going to say, is Mike Quackenbush still running that over there?
What?
So is Mike Quackenbush still running things down there?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, he's a pretty good guy.
And PWS Super at the Sports Center in Jersey.
Okie dokie, all kinds of great stuff coming up on the local scene, and that's what Ed does. That's what Ed does better than anybody. That's for sure. They don't call him Ed the Showstopper for nothing. Thanks so much for the call, Ed. Appreciate it as always. All right, let's see here. Well, we could take care of. Let's see. Yeah, we'll get the predictions starting to go wrong, and we'll take care of a little bit of business. That's probably the best way to go about it here. So here are the matches set up for Slammiversary tomorrow night for TNA. We'll save the two that I just mentioned from that promo. We'll save those for close to the end. Jay Bradley and Sam Shaw. I know those names don't exactly jump out at you, but they're in the finals of the Gut Check tournament, and the winner is going to get entry into the Bound for Glory series. This is pretty much a coin flip for me. I'm going to go with Sam Shaw. Why, you ask? Well, I could just say, I got no idea, but no, in this case, I'm thinking part of it may have to do with the fact that if you look on TNA's roster website, Shaw is listed and Jay Bradley is not. It could be a red herring, it could be a ruse, but I'm going with it. Why not? I've made stupider decisions with TNA pay-per-views, and certainly so too have they. The number one contender match for the Knockouts title in a last knockout standing match. You've got Gail Kim against Taryn Terrell. I'm going with Gail Kim on this one. Pretty much all of these are coin flips. I could just as easily be right or wrong on any of these because, I don't know, TNA, you have no idea what they're going to do. Just when you think you know what they're going to do, they do something different. Just when, as Roddy Piper would always say, just when you think you have all the answers, they go ahead and change the questions. Next, you've got the X Division Championship on the line in an Ultimate X match. Kenny King defending against Chris Sabin and Suicide. I'm going with Kenny King on this one to retain the X Division Championship. Then you got the TV title. Mentioned it a little earlier. Devon and Joseph Park. Devon defending against Joseph Park. I think Devon is going to hang on to it, and we'll probably see a black hole slam somewhere in the match. Then you've got an interesting six-man tag, including the return after a few months of Jeff Hardy. We last saw Jeff Hardy at the last TNA pay-per-view at Lockdown, going back, about 2-3 months now? It's amazing where the time has gone. But Jeff Hardy, he'll be in the six-man tag match, teaming up with Samoa Joe and Magnus against three of the members of Aces and Eights, Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff, and Mr. Anderson. Since Jeff Hardy's returning, I'm pretty sure that means he and Samoa Joe and Magnus are going to get the Duke there. Now, this one, I have no idea what direction they're going to go in because there's not one, not two, not three, but four different teams involved in the mix. A four-way elimination match for the Tag Team Championship. You've got Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez defending the tag titles against Bad Influence, Chris Daniels and Kazarian, Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, and James Storm and Gunner teaming up. Now, James Storm obviously having the injury issues that we talked about last week. Who knows whether that'll play a factor. I'm going with Bad Influence just because. There's no logic to any of these on this one. I'm just kind of flipping coins, rolling dice, and hoping they come up right, AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. That should be an interesting one. Styles kind of not really showing allegiance to anyone other than himself after kind of being kicked to the curb by both TNA as well as Aces and Eights. Kurt Angle with the grudge match here against AJ Styles. I think Styles is going to win this. And finally, for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, Bully Ray defending against Sting. And if Sting does not win the match, he can no longer compete for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. All signs are pointing to Sting winning this, which is why I'm picking Bully Ray. Yeah, it just makes that kind of sense. I mean, at this point, Sting is 52, 53 years old at this point. It's a good way to keep him active, but not necessarily keep him in the main event picture to give some younger guys a chance. So it's not continuing to be the Sting and Hulk Hogan show as it's been for a while in TNA, and they've been kind of turning back the clock to about 1997 when WCW did the same thing. So that's where I'm going with it. Let me give you those again. I've got Sam Shaw, Gail Kim, Kenny King, Devon, the team of Jeff Hardy, Samoa Joe, and Magnus. Bad Influence winning the tag titles, AJ Styles over Kurt Angle, and Bully Ray retaining the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Those are my picks. I'm sure you can feel free to debate. You can also do so on the Facebook fan page. Just look up WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly. Let's go ahead and take care of our first time out, and when we come back, Nick, do you want to chime in? I saw you putting on the mic.
I was thinking about Bully Ray. Is he a bully type guy?
He is a bully type guy. So
he's not part of the anti-bullying thing, though. He should be, huh?
You'd think he would be, but I mean, he's kind of playing. How some of the best characters in wrestling are their own personalities with the dial turned all the way up, and
right.
that's kind of that's.
I like that analogy. I like that.
That's kind of what Mark LaMonaco or Bully Ray, formerly Bubba Ray Dudley, is. I mean, he's taken a lot of his roots, being from Hell's Kitchen, New York, and just he's got that obnoxious.
He's probably from Langhorne, but we'll forget that.
Oh no, he's not from Langhorne, but I mean, you can tell by hearing him. I mean, you heard him in the clip there. He definitely. Yeah. There is definitely a New York localism in there somewhere. It may not necessarily be Hell's Kitchen, New York, but there are definitely some
I mean, Gorilla Monsoon was from Manchuria once, you know.
Oh, I know. And not necessarily Willingboro, New Jersey.
Well,
I
no,
know.
they're the same thing. Everybody knows that.
Oh, of course. Well, and how many wrestlers were from parts unknown?
Well, yes.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Mr. Mysterious or something. Mr. Mysterio from parts unknown.
Yeah, or even, mentioning the late Owen Hart, the Blue Blazer. He was from parts unknown, which
Parts
apparently
Unknown.
is Calgary, Alberta, Canada. At least in that particular
Who ever heard
case.
of that? You know?
Yeah, well, it was a big focus this past week as Bret Hart was honored after Raw in Canada, and we'll talk about that that coming up. How did we get on the? Oh, that's right. You were asking about Bully Ray and the character.
I do like that analogy of turn the dial all the way. That's really good.
That's what it was with The Rock. That's what it was with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, they just, they finally let them be themselves, and it worked out well.
But you heard it first here, folks. Fearon said it first.
At least for today. Maybe tomorrow somebody else will have said it first.
Well, no.
Or next week.
Why,
who knows?
Did you grab it from somebody else?
I can neither confirm nor deny that alleged allegation.
Oh, boy. And he's also running for public office.
Speaking of running for public office, there's a story about that. We've got that coming up as well.
Goody.
Yeah, there might be a possibility of a wrestler in the White House.
I'd love to see that.
Stranger things have happened.
Well, I mean, Jesse Ventura was a governor, so anything's possible.
It is. I've got that story coming up.
Right.
And we've also got room for more of your phone calls, more of your Facebook feedback on the WBCB Pro Wrestling Weekly Facebook fan page. And, of course, you can chime in on the phones, 215-949-3232 or toll-free at 888-922-2149. Those are the ways to reach us here on Pro Wrestling Weekly, the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in terrestrial radio history, 14 years and counting on the airwaves right here on WBCB 1490 AM and online at WBCB1490.com.